You think an aura is about standing tall, wearing black and projecting a cold, emotionless stare. You believe that to appear powerful, you must act completely detached, rejecting all human connection to prove your independence. That is a performance for the insecure. A truly commanding aura is not about being cold. It is about becoming a psychological mirror that reflects people's deepest uncertainties back at them until they begin questioning themselves in your presence. There is a specific, almost unsettling psychological mechanism used by many of history's most influential leaders that causes the human mind to form conclusions before a single word is spoken. It is an invisible architecture of perception. Once you understand how to build this structure around yourself, walking into a room will never feel the same again. People do not respect what they can fully understand. They are drawn to what they cannot predict. They become influenced by what they cannot easily control. Society has conditioned you to be legible. From the time you were a child, you were taught to make yourself easily readable to others. You were taught to smile so people know you are friendly. You were taught to show your frustration so people know you are serious. You were taught to broadcast your intentions, explain your reasoning, and display your effort. You were trained to be a wide-open book because an open book is safe. It is manageable. Robert Greene did not study power through safe men. He studied it through rulers, strategists, power brokers, and influential figures throughout history. And one pattern appears again and again. Truly influential people are never fully legible. To build an aura that shapes perception, you must unlearn the habit of being completely understood. You must construct a presence that is substantial, undeniable, and deeply unsettling to those who seek to influence you. We are not going to talk about staying silent or fading into the background. Hiding is not power. True power is standing directly in the light and still remaining completely beyond easy definition. Point 1. The weaponization of unpredictable warmth. Most people who study power make a fatal amateur mistake. They assume that to project authority, they must be perpetually stern, unsmiling, and rigid. They adopt a fabricated persona of absolute coldness. This is a disastrous strategy. When you are cold all the time, you are predictable. And predictability is the death of influence. If your rivals and your peers know that you will always react with icy distance, they can adapt to it. They build a tolerance to your coldness. You become a static object in their environment. A powerful aura does not rely on permanent ice. It relies on the psychological impact of the variable ratio schedule. In behavioral psychology, there is a concept regarding reward systems. If you reward a lab animal every single time it pulls a lever, it learns the pattern. It becomes bored. If you never reward it, it stops pulling the lever. But if you reward it randomly, sometimes it gets a significant reward, sometimes it gets absolutely nothing, and there is no discernible logic to the pattern. The animal becomes obsessed. It will pull the lever endlessly, searching for the next reward. Humans are wired in remarkably similar ways. To build an aura that creates strong attention and admiration, you must master the art of unpredictable warmth. You do not act like a robot. You show sudden, intense, hyper-focused warmth. You look someone in the eye. You smile genuinely. You make them feel like they are the most important person in the room for exactly 30 seconds. You validate them deeply. And then, without warning, without anger, and without any explanation, you completely detach. The next time they see you, your eyes are unreadable. Your tone is measured. You treat them with the polite, professional efficiency of a specialist focused on a task. You do not insult them. Insults are emotional. You simply look past them as if the profound connection they felt yesterday is no longer present today. Watch what happens to their mind. They will immediately begin questioning themselves. They will assume they did something wrong. Their ego, which was elevated by your previous warmth, is suddenly deprived of attention. They will start overperforming to win back that initial validation. They will chase you. They will agree with your ideas, laugh at your jokes, and bend toward your preferences, all in a desperate subconscious attempt to make the warm version of you return. Robert Greene frequently highlights the balance between attraction and intimidation throughout history. But the highest level of psychological influence is creating a state where people become deeply concerned about losing your approval. When your warmth is guaranteed, it becomes ordinary. When your warmth is rare, erratic, and difficult to decode, it becomes unusually valuable. People will restructure their behavior just to experience that approval again. They will move toward your perspective, not because you force them to, but because they are uncomfortable with the uncertainty that follows when they fall out of your favor. Does this seem manipulative? It can be. But you are not here to be a constant source of comfort for insecure people. You are here to build a presence that naturally pulls attention and influence toward you. Point 2. The law of frictionless superiority. We exist in a culture that worships the hustle. People love to show you how hard they are working. They want you to see their sweat. They post about their lack of sleep. They complain about their stress. And they constantly broadcast the sheer amount of effort it takes to maintain their lives. They do this because they want recognition, and they equate effort with virtue. If you want an aura that commands absolute respect, you must eradicate the display of effort from your existence. In the 16th century, the Italian courtier Baldassare Castiglione coined a term that every Robert Greene student of power must internalize: sprezzatura. It translates roughly to studied carelessness. It is the art of performing difficult tasks, wielding immense influence, or executing brilliant strategies while making it look as though it required absolutely zero exertion. When you show people how hard you are working, you bring yourself down to their level. You become a peer. You become human. They can measure you. They see the mechanics of your struggle, and because they understand the struggle, they are no longer impressed by it. But when you produce exceptional results, when you outmaneuver a rival, when you change the entire direction of a project or a relationship, and you do it with the casual grace of someone brushing dust off their shoulder, you elevate yourself into the realm of the uncanny. Think of a duck gliding across a pond. Above the water, it is totally serene, motionless, undisturbed. Below the water, it is paddling furiously. You must conceal the paddling. Irving Goffman, a pioneer in the sociology of human interaction, wrote about the front stage and the backstage of human behavior. Most people carelessly leave the curtain open. They let the audience see the backstage, the panic, the preparation, the anxiety, the drafts, the failures. To build a powerful aura, you must weld the curtain shut. Never complain about being tired. Never explain how long something took you. When someone compliments a major achievement of yours, do not dive into a desperate monologue about how much you sacrificed for it. You simply hold eye contact, offer a slight knowing smile, and change the subject. This creates a powerful psychological dissonance in your observers. When they look at you, they cannot calculate your limits. If you just dismantled their argument in a meeting and you look completely relaxed while doing it, their brain assumes you have access to reserves of capability they cannot even imagine. If this was your casual effort, what would your full capability look like? They will never want to find out. The illusion of frictionless superiority makes people hesitate before the contest even starts. They will look at your effortless execution and assume you are simply operating on a different level. They will be reluctant to challenge you because it is difficult to compete with a force that does not even appear. Point 3. The architecture of suppressed kinetic energy. There is a massive misconception propagated by cheap self-help gurus about physical presence. They tell you to take up space. They tell you to stand with your legs wide apart, to puff out your chest, to speak loudly, and to dominate the physical environment with aggressive expansion. This is the behavior of a frightened animal trying to look bigger to avoid danger. It is a biological bluff. True dominance, the kind of dominance that makes people immediately pay attention, does not come from expansive aggression. It comes from suppressed kinetic energy. Evolutionary anthropologist Joseph Henrich differentiates between two types of status in human societies: dominance and prestige. Dominance is maintained through pressure and intimidation. Prestige is freely conferred by others because of your perceived skill and value. A Robert Greene aura masterfully blends the two. You do not want to be a tyrant who throws tantrums, nor do you want to be a passive saint. You want to be a loaded spring resting quietly on a velvet pillow. Watch a true apex predator in the wild. A tiger does not jump around snapping branches to prove it is dangerous. It moves with a heavy, intimidating fluidity. It is perfectly relaxed. Yet you know instinctively that it could unleash tremendous force in a fraction of a second. You must cultivate this physical state. It is the aura of the coiled spring. You achieve this by stripping all frantic, anxious movements from your body language. Stop nodding aggressively when other people speak to show you are listening. Stop shifting your weight from foot to foot. Stop playing with your hands, your phone, or your face. Stillness is the heaviest physical trait a human can possess. When someone is speaking to you, do not give them the constant eager feedback of a subordinate. Give them stillness. Look at them, but do not look at them with the bulging, unblinking eyes of a psychopath. That is performative. Instead, adopt what can only be described as the specimen gaze. Look at them the way a scientist observes a specimen under observation. It is a gaze of profound, relaxed curiosity, completely devoid of emotional reaction. You are studying their behavior. When you use the specimen gaze, you flip the power dynamic of any room. Usually the person speaking feels they hold the floor. But when you apply this calm, heavy observation, they suddenly realize they are performing for you. Their words will start to falter. They will try to fill the silence. They will start qualifying their statements, seeking your approval, hoping to see a crack in your completely serene exterior. Your physical restraint acts as a vacuum that pulls the confidence out of the room. You do not need to take up physical space if your psychological gravity is dense enough to pull everyone into your orbit. Point 4. The strategic display of the decoy flaw. If you execute the first 3 points perfectly, if you are unpredictable, seemingly effortless and physically heavy, you will run into a very dangerous problem. You will trigger intense envy and resentment. Robert Greene has repeatedly observed that people often attract as much resentment through excellence as through failure. If you appear too flawless, too untouchable, you become a mirror that reflects everyone else's inadequacies. Many people cannot tolerate that reflection. Subconsciously, they will form alliances to pull you down. The human tribe has always coordinated against the person who appears too elevated above the group. To maintain your powerful aura without becoming a target, you must engineer a pressure valve for their envy. You must master the strategic display of the decoy flaw. You give them a weakness, but you do not give them a real weakness. You give them a carefully selected, highly controlled flaw that you explicitly allow them to see. Perhaps you cultivate a reputation for being slightly absent-minded about trivial things. Perhaps you downplay your technical skill in an area that does not actually matter to your core objectives. Perhaps you allow yourself to appear entirely motivated by a specific petty vanity. History is full of master strategists who wore a limp, a stutter, or a reputation for laziness as a cloak. Charles Maurice de Talleyrand, one of the most brilliant and influential diplomats in French history, was famous for his clubfoot and his apparent lethargy. He allowed his rivals to mock his physical limitation and his love for luxury. He let them think he was soft, and while they were laughing at his limp, he was quietly reshaping the political landscape of Europe and outlasting every regime that believed it controlled him. When you hand people a decoy flaw, their ego immediately latches onto it. They feel relieved. They say to themselves, he is not exceptional after all. He is terrible at remembering dates. Or, she is brilliant, but she is so disorganized with her paperwork. They will focus all their competitive energy on that visible flaw. They will mock it behind your back. They will feel a sense of superiority over you in that one specific useless domain. Let them. By feeding their ego this cheap junk food, you blind them to your actual intentions. They become so satisfied with finding a crack in your armor that they do not realize the armor is symbolic, and your real strengths remain completely hidden. The decoy flaw makes you approachable, enough to avoid a coordinated attack while keeping your true core utterly protected. You control the narrative, not by demanding perfection, but by deciding exactly how your rivals are allowed to underestimate you. Point 5. The atrophy of validation. This brings us to the final, most brutal and most difficult stage of building an aura. This is the stage where the techniques cease to be acts of performance and become your actual psychological baseline. You cannot fake this final step. The human brain is incredibly adept at sensing desperation for power. If you are using these strategies because you desperately want people to fear you, if you are acting unpredictably because you are craving the satisfaction of their approval, you will eventually fail. The desire to be feared is just as needy and just as dependent as the desire to be loved. Both require the audience to validate your existence. Both make you dependent on the perception of others. The most intimidating people on earth do not care if you fear them. They do not care if you respect them. They only care about the objective. To build an aura that truly shapes perception, you must undergo the atrophy of validation. You must systematically starve your ego's need for external feedback. When you walk into a negotiation, a social gathering, or a confrontation, most people are implicitly asking the room, "How am I doing? Do you like me? Do you recognize my status?" The Robert Greene sovereign walks into the room and asks nothing. The sovereign merely observes the pieces on the board. When someone insults you, your ego wants to strike back to prove you are strong. The sovereign does not strike back out of pride. The sovereign evaluates the insult as a piece of data. Does this insult materially damage my objective? If no, it is ignored entirely, treated like background noise. If yes, the sovereign removes the obstacle, not with anger, not to defend honor, but with the calm efficiency of a surgeon removing a tumor. When you detach your self-worth from the reactions of the people around you, your aura undergoes a profound shift. You stop emitting the frequency of need. People are used to interacting with needy individuals. The entire social fabric is built on the exchange of mutual validation. I stroke your ego, you stroke mine. When you completely step outside of that economy, when you refuse to trade in the currency of validation, you become an unusual presence. People will feel this. They will sense that you cannot be swayed by compliments and you cannot be broken by rejection. You operate on a totally different metric of reality. This total detachment is the essence of true ruthlessness. Ruthlessness is not cruelty. Cruelty is emotional. Cruelty is someone who wants to see you suffer because they enjoy the reaction. Ruthlessness is simply the absolute absence of hesitation in executing a strategy. When people realize that your actions are not governed by their opinions, their emotional pressure, or their social expectations, they will experience a profound sense of uncertainty. They will realize that all the tools they usually use to influence other human beings, guilt, flattery, shame, and outrage, are completely ineffective against you. And when a human being encounters something they cannot control, influence, or manipulate, they have only one response left: acceptance. They will adapt to your presence because your reality feels heavier, denser, and more grounded than theirs. You do not need to raise your voice. You do not need to make threats. Your sheer independence does the heavy lifting for you. Look closely at the architecture we have built. It is a structure of paradoxes. You are deeply warm yet capable of instant clinical detachment. You achieve massive results, yet you display zero effort. You are physically present yet entirely still. You are seemingly flawed yet perfectly defended. You interact with the world, yet you need absolutely nothing from it. This is the Robert Greene aura. It is not an outfit you put on in the morning. It is a psychological fortress that you build over years of relentless self-correction. Most people will never achieve this. They will watch a video like this, feel a brief surge of motivation, and then tomorrow morning they will go right back to over-explaining themselves, seeking validation from people they dislike, and carrying the weight of other people's opinions. They will choose the comfort of being predictable over the discipline of becoming sovereign. The path of the sovereign is a lonely one. When you build this aura, the chaotic noise of superficial friendships will fall away. The people who were only in your life to drain your energy and influence your emotions will leave, unsettled by the sudden boundary of your presence. You will be left with a much smaller circle, but it will be a circle composed entirely of those who respect the gravity of what you have become. You must ask yourself what you actually want. Do you want to be comfortable, understood, and easily accepted by the masses? Or do you want to be effective, difficult to influence, and sovereign over your own existence? You cannot have both. The choice to build this architecture requires the death of your desire to be seen as a good person by everyone around you. It requires you to accept that power is inherently polarizing. To some people, strength is protection. To others, strength is a challenge. But truly powerful people never ask either side for permission to be what they are. They simply define the reality of their environment. You must begin the process of internal recalibration today. The next time you feel the desperate urge to explain your actions to someone who has no right to demand an explanation, bite your tongue, swallow the anxiety, let the silence hang in the air, and watch their reaction. The next time you achieve a victory, resist the urge to show everyone the struggle it took to get there. Smile, accept the win, and let them wonder. It will feel unnatural at first. It will feel like you are acting. But as you repeatedly subject your brain to this new standard of behavior, the neural pathways will adapt. The performance will become the reality. The habit will become part of your identity. You will wake up one day, walk into a room of hostile, chaotic, self-interested people, and you will feel absolutely nothing but a calm, brilliant clarity. You will see the invisible strings of their insecurities guiding their decisions. You will see the precise pressure points that shape behavior, and you will realize that you are no longer a participant in their frantic game. You are the architect of the board. Most will go back to sleep. Don't be like them. What you choose to do with this architecture is entirely up to you. You can use it to build a meaningful life, to protect your family, or to simply walk through the world entirely unbothered by the noise around you. But once you understand the mechanics behind this kind of influence, you can never pretend you do not see them. The chains are off. The question is, are you brave enough to walk without them? Subscribe if you haven't.